The UFC has multiple divisions sitting in limbo right now, and today's MMA news only added more questions. With Ilia Topuria stepping away from his title, contenders are waiting to see if the UFC pulls the trigger on an interim belt. At the same time, flyweight is heating up after another knockout, bantamweight is still debating what went wrong in a recent title fight, and even heavyweight crossover talks are starting to pop up again. We've got updates across the board today, so let's get into everything you need to know. Starting with featherweight, the division is still feeling the impact of Ilia Topuria's announcement. As of now, the UFC hasn't made any public statement about whether an interim title will be introduced or how long they expect Ilia to be out. That uncertainty has naturally put contenders on pause, with several fighters watching closely to see how the promotion handles the situation. Some fighters have already hinted that they're ready to step in if needed, while others believe the division should wait until there's more clarity. The UFC has handled similar situations differently in the past, depending on timing and circumstances, so for now nothing is guaranteed. Moving over to the bantamweight division, there's still a lot of discussion surrounding Merab Dvalishvili following his recent loss. Tim Welch shared his perspective on the fight, suggesting that championship life can change how a fighter prepares. According to Welch, once you reach the top, outside opportunities start to appear, and staying completely locked in becomes more difficult. Welch contrasted that with Peter Yan's mindset, saying Yan trained as if it were the most important fight of his life. He also pointed out a specific moment during the fight, noting that Merab appeared to be repeatedly elbowing his forearm while fighting for position. After the rounds, Merab was seen holding that arm, and Welch suggested that may have played a role in how the fight unfolded later on. The exact impact isn't clear, but it's one of several factors being discussed. At flyweight, Manel Kape's latest win continues to build momentum. After his knockout performance, Kape called for a fight with Joshua Van, and Van quickly responded, saying he's ready to run it. The exchange caught attention, not just because of the matchup, but because of how active the division has been recently. Daniel Cormier also weighed in on the title picture, explaining why Kape now has a strong case for a title shot. Cormier acknowledged that other contenders have quality wins, but pointed out that there's no controversy surrounding Kape's most recent performance. He emphasized that clean finishes and timing matter when resumes are compared, and that Kape's argument is hard to ignore right now. Switching to heavyweight, crossover fight talk has popped up again. Tom Aspinall recently spoke about the idea of boxing, making it clear that he has no interest in chasing a world title in the sport. He said dedicating his entire life to boxing at this stage wouldn't make sense, but he didn't rule out the possibility of a small number of big-name fights if the situation was right. That naturally led fans to bring up names like Francis Ngannou. While nothing is close to being booked, the fact that these conversations keep resurfacing shows how much interest there still is in heavyweight crossover fights, especially when major names are involved. On the personality side of things, Paddy Pimblett made headlines again, this time for comments about Colby Covington. Paddy pushed back on the idea that Colby is a completely different person behind the scenes, saying that most people he's spoken to don't buy that narrative. He described Colby as someone who puts on an act for the camera and said that act hasn't earned him much respect in the locker room. Paddy also talked about the idea of coaching the ultimate fighter in the future. He said it's something he'd love to do, especially if paired with the right rival. He mentioned that a season involving Ilia Topuria would be entertaining, but joked that it would require constant security due to how heated things could get. In lighter news, Merab Dvalishvili posted a short video showing himself removing stitches from his nose while on vacation. He reassured fans that he's doing well and already thinking about what comes next. It was a brief post, but it caught attention because of how relaxed it was, considering how recently he competed. There were also plenty of fan reactions circulating today, particularly around how fighters handle wins and losses publicly. Some fans praised fighters who stay quiet and focused after setbacks, while others criticized what they saw as unnecessary post-fight antics. As always, opinions were split, and social media amplified every reaction. As for the UFC itself, no major announcements were made today regarding upcoming title fights or interim belts. That silence is part of what's keeping these discussions alive, with multiple divisions facing uncertainty at the top. The next few weeks could bring some significant booking decisions. That's going to do it for today's MMA News Roundup. Now I want to hear from you. Which situation do you think the UFC needs to address first? The featherweight title, the flyweight title picture, or something else entirely? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you want to stay up to date with daily MMA news, reactions, and updates, make sure you're subscribed. And if you missed the previous video breaking down the Ilia Topuria situation and fighter reactions, check the video on screen right now to get caught up.